do. But we can get into Trump now. So Trump didn't do any kind of recent media with anybody established or like, you know, who's going to check him on anything that he says. He went to Andrew Schultz.
Let's do a real quick callback. Right? Because remember when I said this type of podcast, I'm so confused as to why the fuck Shits and Gigs was on there in the first place. And then soon after they have Trump on the show. This is a podcast that would have Trump on the show, and you have a fan base of mostly black women, and then you brought your dumb black asses on that show to do it. For what? Why were you there? Trump was there after you. There's no way.
I wasn't after them, but I feel you.
There's no way that me and Trump are going to be on the same platform, though. Like, why are you on the same platform?
You would go on The View.
I wouldn't go on The View. I wouldn't go on The View. Them bitches would piss me off. They would piss me.
If you were
clean
selling
off.
a book, you go on The View.
What? I would. You know how much media prep I would have to do to go on The View.
I mean, you would go on there.
I would
Trump
go on The View against my will.
I'm just saying, Trump was on The View.
Like,
so don't say that. There's gonna be some stuff. You would go on more shows that Trump had been on than not. Because a lot of those like Fox and all that stuff, that'd be stuff that we'd be using to promote something for. So
why would we be promoting on those platforms
when we're
black
something?
people?
Because we'll be selling something. The white people buy stuff from black people.
We would be on ABC News, not
Let's
Fox
stop acting
News.
like this. Stop acting like if you came up with some idea or we developed some type of product and it just so happened to be popular with white women, you wouldn't be jumping on the shows to do that. You would do that. Not
on platforms that I'm like.
I'm talking about general platforms that would have promotion like that.
Okay, yeah,
That's
sure.
what I'm saying. But no, he sat on there with Schultz and Akash. You and Schultz for the first 10 minutes of that podcast gave the most disgusting brand of fellatio I've ever seen two straight claiming men with wives to do. It was disgusting.
Those
how
spit
vile.
bubbles.
It was. Schultz had the shaft and Akash had the balls. The entire first part of that interview. Like, I'm talking about Andrew couldn't stop cheesing. His fucking teeth was about to fall out his mouth, how hard he was smiling. Akash, he thought that was this white savior in front of him. He, like, you see how he kind of generally, especially in the olden days, he would act very impressed of Andrew. Oh, man,
I don't know. The only thing I know Akash from is that one comedy special that he did.
Let's just say whatever he looked at Andrew, it was 100-fold for Trump. Like, these guys was letting him get any shit off. He was just making up shit, lying, talking about he gave them his tax returns. I did one Google search. It's like, nigga, no, they forced you to give out the tax returns, and you still haven't provided everything. It was in
court.
Yeah, and he still hasn't provided everything. He's the only president to never have submitted his tax returns since I think it was like Eisenhower. They said, but hold on, let me pull this clip up because this was probably the most nastiest part of it.
Yeah,
years.
Yeah,
they went to the United States Supreme Court. I gave them tens of thousands of pages, and you never heard about it again.
Well, that is what often happens, which is probably incredibly frustrating, which is lobbying an ally.
So that was what they were talking about in regards to the taxes. And he said he gave them all this. So I went into a CBS News. They said Trump on Friday, this is like 2 years ago, Trump on Friday accused Democrats of having unconstitutionally released his returns. So he didn't want to give it to him. And he was the first president since Richard Nixon to not release his tax returns.
Of course it was Nixon.
The one who got impeached. Or he didn't get impeached, my bad. He was the one who was threatened to be impeached.
Yeah.
Because once I say that, they're going to kill me in the comments.
Recent presidents. Dumb fuck.
And then the last sentence here says, recent presidents released their tax returns voluntarily. So he was forced to do it. Let me see. I got some more stuff right here. I thought this was pretty interesting how he felt about your boy Biden, and because they talked about, he had assassination attempts and things like that. So let me get this one going here. This one is crazy. What he asked Biden.
I think it's hilarious.
And Biden, if he were a real president,
hold on, let me let you hear this. You got to listen to this. So this is what he's talking about. What he felt Biden should have did once he had the assassination attempt on him.
And Biden, if he were a real president, if he were the kind of guy he should be, should say, if anybody shoots a former president who's now the leading candidate, even though he's leading against Democrats, we will bomb that country into oblivion. And it would stop. And that's been said before with some people.
Hold on. Did you hear Akash when he said that?
And it would stop.
Hold on. Here it goes.
bomb that country into oblivion.
Mm.
And it was said
This nigga eating.
before with some people. You know, they
He said, Hold on, let me see. But I thought that's adorable. He wanted Biden to spin about him.
He said, "You didn't ride for me."
You didn't. He said, if you was a real nigga, you would have took the missile, the M12 nigga, and spent the block on them brown boys, dog. They out here put their hands on me, even though they was pasty white men.
Who is Trump saying is behind his assassination attempt? What country?
They asked him about that, right? They asked him, who do you think was behind it? He said, well, you know, and he does this thing where he self-described, said he's weaving, meaning he's not addressing the question at hand and just completely talks around and didn't even answer it.
You don't even have an idea of who you want bombed. You just want somebody bombed.
He just felt like somebody had to spin about him. Like, when I bring this information to you, somebody tried to kill me, somebody should have just died.
He said, we have the same cloth. We we're both about to be former presidents. And if somebody did that to you, I would ride for you. So you should have rode for me. That's hilarious.
Overall, though, this was a pretty...
Trump is a bad bitch, obviously.
I mean, and that's the thing. Where my takeaway from it is like, I'm gonna lie, I did enjoy the interview from a humor standpoint.
Of course,
but that's the problem.
That's really it. That really is the problem, because every time I listen to Trump speak, he pisses me off, but I get a good laugh.
Like my president shouldn't be a good podcast hang.
No,
like it just shouldn't be it.
Like whenever Obama sits down and talks, like I think charismatic as fuck. Like I like hearing him talk.
But there's a different level of being like charismatic, and then the other one just
he's
being
just
like,
a crash out.
Yeah, like
unhinged,
just being unruly with it. Because it's funny too. He needed this Schultz interview like really bad, because there was some information that came out right before this Schultz interview came, where they had Trump with the Jews. He had the Hamakon and everything.
The yarmulke?
What I call it, Hamakah?
Yeah.
Oh, yarmulke. He had the yarmulke on.
I grew up in New York. So.
I didn't know if I needed to, like, because I seen Charleston White talking about him. He called them the foos. So I didn't know if I need to change what they were so they know what we're talking about.
Don't repeat anything Charleston White calls anybody.
He was on the Palestinian side. I was with him with that.
I just feel like, if Charleston uses any terms to describe anybody, it's pretty safe to not repeat that.
I just want to say this. You stupid MAGA Republicans who think that Trump is somewhere trying to collude and manipulate these Jewish oligarchs, y'all are fucking retarded, okay? I just want y'all to know that. He is getting used. You know why? Because they're his donors just like Kamala. So they get money from the same people. I think y'all need to understand and realize that this man is not on the side that you think it is. He wants to go to war with Iran. He wants to go
war
blow
is
the fucking
extremely profitable for the government.
He wants to blow shit up. Hold on, let me bring in. I thought,
and
this
then
was
also,
hilarious.
I think we all need to realize that presidents are puppets. Like they want to come in and do the things that they want to do. They might be a little bit what's the word I'm looking for? Like they don't know what's going to happen when they get into office, and they might go in a little bit idealistic, but eventually they're just going to be puppets.
Let me tell you
I don't think there's any change that can be done.
Let me show y'all how much he disappointed his extreme right-wing base in regards to. So this is Nick Fuentes.
He disappoints them a lot, though.
This is Nick Fuentes right here. Nick Fuentes has already been on the ledge, and this is like him finally coming out like, hey, it's over with.
Clearly, this whole Trump movement is just a big Israeli scam. That's all. Maybe that's all it was. It's hard for me to believe that because I was a part of it and I believed in it and I loved it. But it's starting to feel like that's maybe what it always was with all of these people. And I'm not going to vote for Israeli gangsters. I'm not going to vote for Jewish Israeli gangsters and Chabad Lubavitchers who think I don't have a soul. Jewish supremacists, people that want us to go to war with Iran. I'm not going to vote for it. I'm not going to encourage other people to vote for it. That's, and they say, well, he'll win anyway or something. So be it. So be it. I'm part of a different movement. I'm a different movement now. I'm seceding from MAGA. And they'll welcome it.
Seceding from MAGA is hilarious.
That's so sick.
Fine. I can't support any of that. And I'm not a Democrat. I'm never going to support Kamala. But I can't support Trump anymore. I'm not going to support infinity immigration and war with Iran. It's not what I signed up for. I
Infinity
signed up for an
immigration.
end to the Middle East wars. I signed up for building a wall, putting Americans first. None of these policies are America first. And by the way, for everybody that says, well, he's only doing this for the sake of the election or something, the war in Israel is unpopular, yet he'll support it anyway because they'll pay him. He will support the unpopular war in Israel because they will give him lots of money. He will not support pro-life, although because it is unpopular, and Catholics are supposed to just deal with it. If you're a Jew and you want Trump to support your unpopular policy, he'll bend over backwards and you give him all this money and it works. If you're a Catholic, well, you just have to...
I have a couple questions. Mm-hmm. You would think that the MAGA group would be behind Israel because they're bombing brown people.
Yeah, not as much so as they used to, because it
surprises me a lot that like the MAGA people are against, like they're calling Jewish people like gangsters and thugs and stuff. Like,
no, but what it is that they're saying, what a lot of them take a stance of is they don't want America to go into other places and use our resources to essentially, they think of it as we're trying to rescue them and help them. They like believe that narrative that we're going there to bring them democracy. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree with them. I think America needs to stop trying to bring people democracy.
But it's like that. But they don't look at it like, oh, they're causing conflict in these areas and stuff. They're looking at it like, oh, we're trying to help these poor Neanderthal, brutes, and they don't even appreciate us. So why are we even over there type shit? So that's how like it's the conflict with them.
They're calling the Jewish people Neanderthal brutes?
No, I'm saying just in general. I'm just talking
okay.
In this situation, they don't want us to be used by another country.
Okay.
They have an issue with people from other countries coming over here, and specifically Israel, coming over here, manipulating our elected officials, having us, throw money and weapons at them so that they can bomb, their people that they hate.
Is the MAGA group pro-Palestine, or are they just anti-Jewish?
Yeah, it's more so because it bleeds into the fact that that used to be an old racist trope. Remember we talked about the Leo Frank guy that Candace Owens smeared his name.
Yeah.
He was a Jewish guy out there. That used to be an older thing. It was like fuck the Jews, fuck the blacks, like all that stuff used to be all together. So this is just an older,
Okay.
It's a growth of that. Like we don't trust the blacks, we don't trust the Jews, like we don't trust anybody other.
Okay, I'm understanding.
And then the way they look at the Jews,
it's just surprising because like I view Jewish people as just white.
Yeah,
like,
they don't.
They're just other white people. They're just white.
Yeah, but you know how the FBA thing goes in. We said that the quote unquote tethers and the foundational Black Americans and stuff. That's how theirs is. We both look white, but you're other because you're Jewish. So that's
what they used to do to the Italians. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's just their infighting that they have inside now. That's just the one that they focus on now is the Jewish one.
Okay.
So it was actually pretty. Just to wrap this part of this MAGA being